Hello everyone, my name is Faye and my presentation is titled, It is Morally Wrong for Individuals, firstly 18, to be engaged in relationships with individuals over the age of 21. So for this debate, firstly 18 will be described as referring to individuals that have turned 18 and graduated high school within 6 months of engaging in a relationship with an adult over the age of 21. Relationship is referring to romantic and or sexual involvement between two individuals. Morally wrong is violating established moral principles, resulting in harm, injustice, or unfairness to others. So my main points of this presentation are the imbalance of power between the younger and the older partners, the cognitive maturity difference between the partners, social stigma surrounding age gaps, and the cultural implications of age gaps. So imbalance of power. The 18-year-old may still be dependent on their parents, while a person over the age of 21 is most likely independent. This is reflective of two different stages in life where you move out of your house and you gain your own independence, and another person who has still just barely graduated high school and is still living with their parents, regardless of if they're just recently joined college or anything like that. They're still technically dependent. These can make room for economic leverage. A fresh high school graduate likely does not have a stable income and their own assets, while an older adult will most likely have a car, an apartment, and access to adult-only spaces that can be used to create dependency. By adult-only spaces, I am referring to clubs or even like alcohol. That's not a space technically, but when you're under the age of 21, you're not allowed to buy alcohol. And individuals that have just turned 18, you're young and you're wild, you still want to have fun. So you may feel dependent on your older partner to provide things like that for you. The older adult may dominate their relationships in terms of decision-making, emotional control, or social expectations. In a sexual relationship, the older person is likely more experienced, which complicates consent dynamics. And the older adult may seem more mature and wise, causing the younger person to defer to them, even if it isn't in their best interest. So, the cognitive maturity differences. While legally adults at 18, the human brain, especially the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision-making and impulse control, does not stop developing until around age 25. Erikson's cognitive development theory states that individuals aged 18 to 25 are navigating the identity versus role confusion stage in their life, which means that individuals within that specific age range are actively trying to discover themselves and are especially susceptible to external influences, especially from those they admire or feel emotionally attached to, such as a parent or a mentor. Older adults may be more adept at emotional regulation, persuasion, and navigating complex social dynamics, while the younger adult may still be learning how to advocate for themselves and set firm boundaries. Well, because of these differences, an adult whose brain has reached maturity is at an advantage in terms of steering emotional conflicts and manipulating emotional dynamics. So my third point, which is social stigma. Spectators tend to view relationships where the two individuals have a large age gap as transactional or exploitation. When the younger person in the relationship is freshly out of high school, their unequal experience is easily observable. There is a concern that the older partner is exploiting the younger partner's experience. In cases where the older partner is in contact with the younger partner prior to turning 18, concerns of pedophilia/ephebophilia, which is the sexual interest in mid to late adolescents, generally aged 15 to 19, are raised, suggesting grooming, which is describing the predatory/lead-up stage of child sexual abuse that offenders use to gain trust and compliance of the child/young person to establish secrecy and avoid disclosure, may have taken place. When an older man is involved with the younger woman, the man is described as a predator and manipulative, and the young woman is described as a gold digger. When the older woman is involved with the younger man, she is described as a cougar, and the man may be described as a boy toy. And these relationships are mocked and criticized because of societal perceptions of power imbalances and concern for ulterior motives. So my last point are the moral implications. In some communities, large age gap relationships are morally condemned, especially if the younger person is just barely of legal age. Even if the relationship is legal, for example, someone who's 18 and someone who's 28, their proximity to illegality, such as being underage just months earlier, makes the relationship suspicious to outsiders, which is the whole grooming thing, concerns of grooming and coercion and stuff like that. An age gap relationship where the younger partner has just recently turned 18 reflects a loophole mentality such as, I'm not breaking the law, so I'm doing nothing wrong. While an 18-year-old can legally consent to sexual or romantic relationships, they are still less emotionally and psychologically equipped to recognize unhealthy dynamics, coercion, or long-term consequences. When a person habitually seeks out people who are barely legal, it suggests that the older person values vulnerability, inexperience, or control opposed to genuine connection or equality. These are my sources that I listed here, and thank you for listening. Don't date people out of your age range.